All righty. All right. Good day, everybody. I have to remind myself to say good day when we're getting started. Welcome to our rally tonight. We're excited to be here. My name is Patty Cepeda, calling in from the Carolinas tonight. Herb and I will be explaining to you a little bit about something that's extremely exciting, and the potential is so incredible. So I want to welcome you tonight. I just got off I've been on rallies all day today. So bear with me as I gather my thoughts because the last one was a doozy. Thank you so much for being here. I want to share first our story, what happened, how we got introduced to this, and then we'll get a little bit more into more detail. I had an opportunity almost a year ago, not quite, that a good friend of ours, somebody in business that's done incredible things in business, Darren, gave us, and we always stayed in touch over the years. We never had an opportunity to do business together, almost, but then this phone call came and he invited me and Herb down to meet with some billionaires in Puerto Rico. And I know we've made tens of millions of dollars in this in networking and marketing and all of that, and have done very well, praise God, in our life in business. And coming from a very I'm master's and ultimately a doctorate in teaching, and Herb was a New York State trooper, so we had a very humble beginnings, and we thought that we were going to do that, got out of that and into something that was more our own businesses. And then this came along and he offered that opportunity to go down to Puerto Rico. And I share my story because, sometimes people think maybe we just know all about this or we knew all about this. But I'm going to tell you, he told us we were going down there to meet them to talk about blockchain technology. And I don't know about you, I didn't know what that was. And then furthermore, I was the one, I have to say this, that had my heels dug in deep when the internet came out. And on my first computer, I saw all sorts of porn and weird things. And I said, no, I want to stop this. Anything I can do to stop this, I want to stop this. And no matter how I felt, look what happened to the internet. I mean, it's everywhere. It has exploded. It has transformed business. It has transformed the way we communicate. It's transformed society, some good and some bad. So, but anyway, we couldn't stop it. And I want to ask you to ask yourself the question, what if you were given the opportunity to have been involved with and monetize the growth of the internet? Would you have, I mean, now hindsight 2020, would you have taken advantage of it? You're going to say yes, as would I. But what I want to say to you is we didn't have that opportunity. I don't think anybody that's on here had quite that opportunity and took advantage of it, like some of the big names that we know, Gates and what have you. But if I could back it up and tell you that blockchain technology is a technology that the World Economic Forum, not that I like that organization, but they've proven to be right most often, most all times, is that they've said and forecasted that 867 trillion dollars of global business will be upset by blockchain technology. And most people have no idea what it's about, what it is. And right now we are growing faster than the internet was at its same point in development. And you're here tonight to learn about that. So I applaud you. I really want to say that I think that it's probably 96% of the population has no idea really how it works, even if you own cryptocurrency. So let me explain that a little bit, and I'll fast forward to our visit down to Puerto Rico. And the reason I said yes was because Darren told me we were meeting with a gentleman who had taken not one, not two, but three companies to $1 billion in business. And he was willing to meet with us and talk to us about this. Another gentleman, I'm cutting to the chase. I'm not going to go through all their accolades. Many of you have seen Tony Swantek on here, an amazing wealth of knowledge. He has $53 million of his own money into this. And what we're on tonight is a rally, and Herbal, we'll get into that a little bit. And of course, then the other gentleman that we met with, name is Wright, who was at one point the #1 miner of Bitcoin in North America at one point. So he had, and I didn't have anything to do with any of that either. Had an opportunity to purchase that. Maybe you know somebody or had an opportunity to get yourself some Bitcoin back when it was 50 cents or $1 or even $20, because we all know now it's in the range of $100,000 a coin. See, I also had my heels dug into that concept. So blockchain technology was a new concept, which I'll explain. And Bitcoin or any type of cryptocurrency, in my eyes, I thought it was some kind of weird way to, they were printing money out of nothing and it was used for nefarious usages. I totally had a negative connotation, but I didn't know what I didn't know. So we're down there learning about blockchain. And I'll just say this, every single crypto is mined on a blockchain. You're going to learn and hear some new terminology and concepts. So be patient with yourself and we'll break them down as best we can to keep it as simple as possible while we're here together tonight. But I want to talk about Bitcoin for a second because everybody seems to know it's kind of a buzzword. We've got everything coming together to make this the most incredible time in history to be involved with what we're talking about. Because again, we're involved with something before everybody knows about it, but yet there's nothing stopping what we're going to tell you about. Just like the internet swept the world, this is going to sweep the world, and it's going to be bigger and it's going to happen faster. And we're offering you an opportunity to take a ride along with us and be able to potentially monetize on that. So like Wright did. I'll go back to his story. Wright was the number one miner of Bitcoin in North America at one point. I didn't know what that was. I'm going to tell you. He showed us on his computer. It was hardware back then. Things have changed. I'm going to tell you this laborious and expense that after he read what's called the white papers, which is basically the summary of what they expected to happen with Bitcoin. He read all that, was in full aboard, and he purchased and showed us on his computer what looked like pictures of what looked like football fields worth of inside of warehouses worth of what looked like computers. They were mining equipment. And the expense of that, I thought to myself, my gosh, the expense. And then, of course, the fourth thinking, and then the expense and energy that it took for him to run all this equipment. It's just mind-boggling now because at that point in time, there had never been a success in the crypto industry until blockchain. He literally took home billions of dollars with what I'm describing to you, as well as a project similar to what we're going to talk to you about. He did into the billions as well. So we're as a watching all this. This is I'm sorry. This was hardware. He had to really read that and think way ahead of the pack. I mean, way ahead. I mean, this isn't something I'm just kind of in awe as I tell that story today. You're here to hear about something we're involved in with is a Connect United community. And in particularly this particular project that we're talking to you on right now, which is Rally. We're on a rally on an R-Link. And Herb will go into that in a little bit more depth. But what's interesting is that same equipment that Wright used, that was hardware, which were all these computers, now we're able to do the same thing on Web3. It's called software. So when we use software, you don't have all that expense. You can literally purchase this software equipment called a node, Node, and become a miner. Like, for example, in this particular platform that we're on now. So let me stop and I'm going to invite Herb to get into a little bit so that you can fully understand what is blockchain technology, how does it work, and let's go into a little bit of that, and then he'll tell you a little bit more about the R-Link.
Well, it's funny because you're saying how we didn't understand what it was, and adoption of anything, especially technology, is a little bit difficult for some people. I'm still trying to adopt the technology of the internet, truth be known, and all the technology that has surfaced recently. But the reality is, when the World Economic Forum says that $867 trillion worth of global business will be disrupted by blockchain technology, that's not something we should be avoiding. They're probably onto something. And so for us, taking everything Patty just said and really condensing it into the next 10 minutes, because that's what we would like to do, because we can talk about this for hours and hours and hours. It's a big deal. But we feel that there's something simple in what we have to share tonight. I mean, really simple. And we like to keep it simple because our past experience has proven to us that simplicity is evidence of the most advanced teaching. If you can keep something simple, you can probably get the masses to understand it. Things that are confusing or that are complicated, they won't be adapted or adopted very quickly. And so the first thing we need to do is get people to gain a simple understanding of what blockchain technology is. Because blockchain technology, as sophisticated as it is, it's really simple to understand. And when you understand it, you start to understand that, man, this is a technology that has advanced all the cryptocurrency. Patty spoke about Bitcoin. Well, the value of Bitcoin was obtained utilizing blockchain technology and continues to do so today. And any other cryptocurrencies that you actually see and hear of, the values are obtained on blockchain technology. So, what is blockchain technology? It's very simple. Just think of a lot of computer programs around the world or computer software around the world interfacing, you know, talking to each other and confirming information and data and things of that nature. And they'll look at something and they'll focus in on something. Let's say they'll focus in on a set of AirPods, right? And specifically this one, look at serial number, date of manufacturing, where it was manufactured, the material it was manufactured with, the form it was manufactured, the type, everything. When you have hundreds of thousands or millions of computers confirming all of that information, what they're doing is they're making an immutable ledger regarding this item. And once it's completed, they'll stamp it into a block of information, metaphorically speaking. And then they'll go on to the next thing. And the next thing they'll look at is this phone I'm holding. And they'll look at this phone and they'll do the same exact thing. All of these computers are confirming all the information on the phone. And then they'll stamp that into a block of information and attach it to the previous block, and so forth, and so forth, and so forth, essentially making a chain of these blocks of information. That's where the term blockchain comes from. But what they've just done was create an immutable ledger. Well, why is it immutable? You should be asking yourself that question. It's immutable because in order for anything to be changed about what they identified and confirmed on an item, you would have to change that simultaneously in all the software that created the confirmations on that. So millions, hundreds of thousands, tens of millions of software. It's basically impossible to do. And so that's why you see the government leading towards putting all the government spending on blockchain technology. You'll hear about this, especially in the near future. You know, we're early adopters of this right now. And so although it might sound strange, in time you'll pick it up. Everybody will, because I believe that the whole world is moving in this direction when it comes to technology. And when technology explodes, things, you know, they really start to change. But because the blockchain creates an immutable ledger, it allows for people to transact person to person without a bank. And the nice part about the whole thing, this is my favorite part about blockchain technology. The word decentralization becomes a big deal. What does that mean? It means that it's not centralized. It's not controlled by a company that makes the decisions and the standards and then passes it along. And we're the recipients of the decisions that the people in the company make. It's not created by a government that, you know, will do what governments do to maintain and sometimes suppress their culture, their society, their people. So it's totally out of control of government, totally out of control of a big brother, but in the hands of people who actually own the software. And so let's talk about owning the software, because we like to focus and concentrate on the platform that you're viewing right now. It's a video conferencing platform. It's not hard to understand. People use GoToMeeting, Google Talk, Microsoft Team, or they'll use Zoom every single day. The market caps for these companies are huge. I know Zoom has a market cap of, I think I heard it was recently 20 to 21 billion. 20 to 21 billion for Zoom. And yet they spy on you. When you're on a Zoom, they're probably using very sophisticated AI to capture your facial recognition, to capture all your imaging, the stuff in your background, and a whole 9 yards. And they'll store it, and you know they'll make a database regarding who you are, what you have, what things of that nature, and they'll start to manipulate that data. And so Zoom bombing is a real deal. It's a real circumstance. You can look it up, Google it, Zoom bombing. Also, they have the ability to tap into your Zooms and actually watch the Zooms that you're doing. So you might think you're doing something private, but the reality is they're probably watching you. And if you say, well, I'm not going to use Zoom, well, most people do. Like, really, most people use Zoom. Zoom, in fact, it's been said that over 300 million people per day around the globe are on Zoom. And here's what's fascinating about it to me: nobody's rewarded for that. Nobody gets any tangible reward for using that utility. Well, what's the difference with this? Well, with our link, you can be rewarded for it. It's on the blockchain. All the software that makes it run and operate rewards the people who have the software to make it run and operate. And so let's talk about the reward process for a second, because I have two examples that I think you can immediately understand. Let's look at Uber. Uber doesn't own any cars, and yet they're considered the largest taxi service in the world. They don't own any cars, but they've implemented leverage by telling people, just like you and I, hey, if you let us use your property, your car, we'll reward you. That's how Uber functions and operates. And Lyft, same thing. Rideshare, same thing. By the way, we're decentralizing rideshare as well. It's another project that we won't get into this evening, but you'll have access to obtain the software for that project should you choose to. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to take a little bit more time than video conferencing because there's more logistics and statutes and municipalities have certain policies and procedures governing rideshare. Video conferencing doesn't have that. And so, again, Uber and Lyft, let us use your property, your car will reward you. That's how they work. Look at Airbnb, VRBO. Most of you understand or know what that is. They're the biggest hotel chain in the world. They don't own a hotel. They don't own homes. They don't own condos. They say to people who own them, hey, let us use your property and we'll reward you. That same concept exists in blockchain technology. The same concept. Our link is telling people, hey, let us use your property, your software, and we'll reward you. And so how do they reward us? Well, they reward us in cryptocurrency. Now, I know cryptocurrency is not adopted by the world, but the truth of the matter is it will be. We see things happening right now in our government on the US side. I know there's people that are the country from the United States right now, but globally as well, things are happening right now where people want to maintain their value. They want to be able to do transactions with people person to person around the world. They don't want any custodial control over what they have. And so we teach people, hey, we can bring you into the space and very simply educate you on how to create non-custodial wallets. So the only person in the world that has access to your value, what you have in your wallet, is going to be you. And we can teach you how to transact with that globally. Now, it's going to be different. It's not like working currently with a bank. I happen to think banks are going to be a thing in the future, in the very near future. I happen to think they're going to go bye-bye. And if you press me on the issue, I happen to think a lot's going to change with actually the fiat currency that's created by the world's, by the central banking system, private Western central banking system. I think the fiat currency is going to tumble, quite honestly. And so when that process starts to happen, if it happens, when it happens, I should say when, what are people going to see value in? Think about that for a second. It's a very serious question. But when that process starts to happen, if fiat currency starts to diminish and goes downhill, and I can spend an hour talking to you about why we believe that is an inevitability, what are people going to perceive as having value? In other words, if you own a piece of property or if you own a car and you want to sell it and the dollar goes kaput and it's gone, it's lost its value, and you want to sell something that you have, what will you take for that sale? Gold? Sure. Silver? Absolutely. Always going to be value in those precious metals, right? They're God's money. But in that same category now, people are saying, we'll take cryptocurrency. Why? Because the upside potential of the crypto is humongous. I mean, let's face it, when Bitcoin came out in 2008 and the white paper was written, no one had a clue about it. As a matter of fact, we have a friend, a guy who came into, we came into contact with because of this. And we reignited a relationship from years ago. And he came up and he chatted with me, and I was speaking about everything we're condensing this down to. And I stop him and I said, it seems like you know everything about blockchain technology. And his response was, I don't know anything about blockchain technology. And I said, well, why do you seem like you're tracking me so well? And he says, let me tell you a story. Back in 2010, someone offered me the opportunity to buy Bitcoin. And so my mind was thinking, well, what was the strike point of Bitcoin in 2010? And I asked him that. And he goes, it was $1. And so I asked the obvious question, did you buy any? And he said, well, before I answer that, let me preface what I'm about to tell you and why I answered it the way, why I took the action I took, because you need to know the whole story. You see, back in 2010, Bitcoin was a novelty. It was an unknown. So it was considered ultra high risk. I mean, if you put any money in Bitcoin in 2010, I mean, you either were smarter than everybody else or stupid, made a stupid decision that turned into be a great decision. So he goes, it was ultra high risk. Nobody knew about cryptocurrency. Nobody knew about Bitcoin. No one knew about blockchain technology, where that asset gained its value. And I said, I see where this is going. He didn't buy any, but he had the opportunity, right? He was at the right place. He was at the right time. Did he recognize it? Well, I haven't gotten that answer yet. And did he take action? I haven't gotten that answer yet also. But then he says to me, but, he said the word but. And when he said but, my head swung around. I'm like, what do you mean but? What did you do? He says to me, I had a hunch. I said, you had a hunch. What did your hunch lead you to do? He said, I had a hunch. I didn't know anything about it, but I bought a little bit of it. I'm like, well, how much was a little bit? Tells me $1,000. I'm like, so you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin in 2010 at $1 per coin. So you have 1,000 Bitcoin in 2010. He goes, yeah. I said, well, how many do you have today? And this is what shocked me. I still have all 1,000. You see, that decision he made in 2010 is worth about $100 million today. How many of you had an opportunity like that? How many of you were at the right place, right time, recognized something or had a hunch about something and then took action? I never have. That never happened to me in my life. This feels like that to me. Why? Video conferencing is easy to understand. Everybody can adopt it. It's really simple. This platform, we're not even showing you some of the possibilities of this platform. For example, we're recording this right now, and I can put up tabs on this platform right now to say, hey, if you want to go get a subscription, you can pay $8.95 a month, $13, $14, $30, $40 a month, and get the platform. You can have up to 3,000 people on simultaneously on the platform. The platform's really cool. You can start videos on the platform. Like I can start a video right now. I'll just show you. I'll just show you real quick.
Do you ever wish you'd played a part in a tech revolution before it got really big? Like Facebook, when it was a Harvard student directory. Amazon, when Jeff Bezos ran it from his garage. Or ChatGPT, before it became the fastest adopted software in history. Well, you missed out on those three. But today, you have a chance to get in on a project that's about to change the way the world communicates forever, building on two of the largest technology trends in the world right now: video conferencing and blockchain. Have you ever asked yourself why huge video conferencing companies let you use?
I mean, I'll quit it, but the point is, we have this technology. I can actually put on a banner to let people actually get the R link. I can put it on the top. You can see it. I'm going to hide it right now because it's I don't want everybody to use that banner because we have other guests on there. But you can click on those banners and I can direct thousands of people to anywhere I want to go instantaneously. That's very hard to do with the other platforms. So it's smooth, you have privacy, and we have the opportunity to be rewarded for it. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. The people who are going to have massive rewards are going to be the people who own the software that make this a reality. And so you'll have an opportunity to purchase software right now before they're gone. But once they're gone, they'll be gone. There's a limited amount of those software. And every time people buy more and more, the actual value of cost of that software increases incrementally. So we believe that this is going to be the next big thing. As a matter of fact, when Patty spoke about us originally being introduced to this, we went down to Puerto Rico and we met with a friend of ours who he's now a friend of ours who it was fascinating to me because we thought we did well in the past, but the reality is we were playing so small. I mean, we were playing so small because he created 3 businesses in the last 36 months that actually did over $1 billion in revenue. Not one, 3. And if he was on here, and we'll probably have him on here next week, he will tell you that this is probably going to be the biggest deal he's ever done. Why? Because of those 300 million people around the globe that are using Zoom every single day that are not rewarded for doing that, how many people do you think will switch over to our link and use this platform knowing that they maintain privacy and they can be rewarded for it? So that's what we have to explain to you tonight. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. We have other projects as well, no doubt. But sometimes you have to stay focused when it comes to something to get something off the ground. And right now, Patty and I are maintaining a tremendous amount of focus right now with the dissemination of the information regarding this R link. It's going to be a big deal. So you'll find yourself in one of a few positions in a year or 2 from now. You'll look back and you'll say, I remember being there when they were talking about it during their initial launch when that was in beta testing, because that's where we're at right now. It's available. You can get the subscription. You can actually subscribe to use it, much like you would do with Zoom. I was there when the subscriptions just came out. I could have gotten in on it, and I did. I'm so glad I did. Or I saw it, but I didn't recognize it, and I didn't do anything, and I'm ashamed or embarrassed, or I regret not having done that. It's kind of like the people that were introduced to Bitcoin back in 2009 and 2010 who did nothing. They're probably regretting it. So, Patty, I can go on and on and on, but we, made a commitment to keep this to to practice the 3 B's: be brief, be bright, and be gone. And so you've got about 2 minutes to close this out.
Fine. It's fine. It was good. And definitely, I do always like to say people get involved with us and join us for one of 3 reasons. They're usually interested in using the products or services, and they may know nothing about blockchain technology and nor would they care. That would be the one category. Other people get involved and they want to become a miner and purchase some of that software nodes, which is available from the person whoever invited you will send you a link that you can investigate that option a little bit further, and that's available to you as well. And then the third category of people are people that say, yeah, I not only want to become a miner, but I really like this and I want to start to share it with everyone else. So he's telling me my camera's off, but it says my camera's on, so I don't know why it says my camera's off. Is that better? Did it go on there?
No.
It's weird. I don't know why that it did that.
That's okay.
It shows on for me. So anyway, figure out which one of those categories that you fall into, and get the person that invited you tonight will send you a link where you can go into that for free, open a free account. There's an academy that'll explain everything about all of this that we're talking about. And there is also other places where you'll learn about all the different projects that we're involved in. And then, take it a step further, start to get involved and learn. We do daily training calls and a lot of these type of rallies where you can learn every day, a little bit more every day. So just all I would say is do what you're comfortable with, but I would definitely not wait too long to get involved, because it's pretty exciting what we're doing right now in this community and where this is going to go. We really feel that this is going to gain some traction, move the needles. And what happens in mining, I just throw this in here before I close, is sometimes, you get involved in the value of the tokens that we mine might not be that great. Kind of like when Bitcoin first started, it wasn't really worth much. And then slowly it started to grow. And then it was $1 and $2 and went up to now it's in the range of $100,000. We're not promising that could happen. But so we're kind of in that place where it's really not worth a whole bunch now. But if you see this gaining traction, moving the needle and exploding around the world, if you think people would move over to a platform like this, which is as good or better than Zoom, we're working through a beta phase and working through kinks right now. But as we move this out like that, do you think more people would be interested in using this where they're rewarded for using the platform? So that said, that's where the value of the tokens goes up, and you are a miner. And those people who made millions, a lot of them own some crypto. They bought it low, sold it high, type of thing. But the people who made the billions or the bigger money were the ones that were mining. They owned the cow, if you will. They didn't buy the gallon of milk like Bitcoin or XRP. They actually were the owners of the mining equipment, or the cow in this example, and was able to produce the tokens. Big difference. So anyway, with that, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. As Herb said, we'll keep it brief. Be bright, be brief, be gone. And we want to thank all of you for being here tonight. Get back with whomever invited you, and they'll get you some more information. God bless everybody.